So good morning.
Good morning, Alex.
It's so great to have can invite you to come over here, and I know that you are very busy as after winning the title of Madam Universe 2025. You got a lot of shoots. I know you are a little bit busy, but luckily today, this morning, you are able to be here with me.
Anything for you, Sifu. Anything for you.
Yes. Okay, so the discussion about this is something like I have been thinking of, and I've been wondering how come I was looking at the TikTok and all these things, and I find that some of the couples where they can really train pets. I saw them like asking them to get an A, they buy an A to her. They ask for a C, they buy a C to. Well, it's an animal, and yet they can train so well. I was wondering how come they don't take it as to adopt a lot of like orphanage,
Children.
Why don't they don't adopt, and why don't they? Of course, when you are talking about why don't they have children, it's because sometimes it's a bit difficult to say now. Nowadays, that people can't. What do you call that? Can't conceive, and okay. So I understand that part. So how come they don't adopt a child rather than adopt a pet? I just don't know why. I don't understand,
Okay, that's a very interesting question that you're asking me. You see, between children and pets, they're very, very different.
The adoptive parents.
Yeah, adoptive parents.
Adoptive parents. If they can really train a pet, why can't they train a human? That's why I'm always in a blur situation that if they can train and teach, so I mean that even a pet they can understand what they say and what and they are so like they follow the instructions and not. Why don't they also, it's the same effort that you put in, but in fact if you say that if you train a human, they absorb even more easier, more understand, and they reply to you more easily rather than adopt a cat who don't even answer your.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Now, you must understand human beings are full of emotions. What they gone through during the childhood, all right, during the progress. If they are hurt, they are hurt, and that hurt could carry them throughout their life. Animals, their memories are short-lived.
Okay. All right.
They're very short-lived. All right. I have pets at home. In fact, I've got 3 cats at home.
Oh.
Right. When you get angry, you tell them, no, don't do it. They just look at you and they still do it. Right? So sometimes you get very angry and what I do, I just tap with their hands. You tap with their hand, they run away. But the next moment, they come to you again.
Oh.
All right. Whereas children, when you beat them, they 1 time, 2 times, and all that. But it harbors inside them. So it's not easy for you to break them up from that shell where they were full of bad memories. Right? It's not easy. All right. And honestly, I'm amazed when I look at those reels and the TikToks and all that kind of things, how they train. Oh, they can even go to the market and buy things and all that.
That's why.
I'm just wondering how that can happen.
It's true.
All right. But anyway, given that they have that system to do, but how many of us can really have that kind of time, especially in Malaysia, all right? It's more or less that both husband and wife have to work if you really want to survive.
But they can still train a pet. That's the thing.
Well, imagine when they have children, what they have to do? They have to place them in school.
Yeah.
If you have a pet, all right, you don't have to. They are used to the house environment. They will stay in the house.
Okay.
You train them. They are toilet trained. You give them the food. Now everything is so easy. They have that kind of automatic food system, automatic water system. The cat just have to go, the water comes in, the food comes in.
Okay.
You don't worry. But your child cannot. All right? The child cannot. The cats and the dogs can jump up and down. They fall down. They're not going to break anything. They're not going to break their bones. All right? But babies cannot. Imagine the baby climb up and then jump down and then they broke something and parents are not in. How?
But of course, when you're saying that parents are not in, this ridiculous. Either they have maids or whatever. No.
But nowadays it's not easy to get.
I had a talk with this issue with a friend of mine. She told me that it's because of the long-term responsibility.
Exactly.
This is what she gave me a good reason, because if she owns a pet, it's just
10-15 years
about that, and then if it's children, the long-term responsibility, and yet nowadays you can never guarantee that the children will look after you when you're old.
Yep.
So that's why, but then what she says is, you give all your effort to them, you give all the best to them, but nowadays you cannot expect they will look after you.
Correct.
So nowadays a lot of people give it to the pets instead of adopting a child. Because adopting a child is just like you are having your own child. It's just that you have to look after everything in detail, and as what she says, you won't know what will happen in future.
Bringing it back, all right. Now, children are also seeing what parents, all right. If I have a pet, I won't be like my parents, waiting for my children to come back, waiting for this and waiting for that. Well, but of course, that's my opinion, lah. So looking at that, a lot of fellows says now, if I have a pet, all right, can I train them? Not, but I must say, not everybody train them.
Yes.
Important thing is I train them. When you need to do your business, that's a business part. Go there, you don't dirty my house. I don't want to come back and see my house is dirty. I train you that you don't scratch my furniture, all right? So I buy the scratcher for you, okay? You feel like scratch that. Right? So they are training them in that sense, because which is more usable to them. But to train them, to say that, okay, go and get me the dog, get me this and all that, it can be trained. I've seen my brother train, okay? My brother, when I was still very young, he's got a pet dog, which is a stray dog though. He can train the dog that the dog can, in the morning, my mother just had to shout from downstairs, "Oi!" He ran up, wake my brother up. Yep. He's a stray dog. Right? He will go up and then start to nudge on my brother, pull out the blanket and all kinds of things just to get my brother up. I saw that with my own eyes, all right? And then my brother trained him in such a sense that let her smell the slipper. It's a her anyway. Smell the slipper, throw it away. She'll run, pick it up and give it to him. Right? Friend get excited. Wow, I can do the same thing. Let her smell, throw it away. But look at the slipper, look at him, get it yourself. So it's actually also a bond. It's also a bond.
Yes.
So if you say can be trained, animals, they have that
instinct.
You can train them. You can train them, but how much effort do we want to train them? How much do we know? Just like children. Is it easy to train children? Not that easy. Not easy. You also need a psychology. You need to know how to train them. Giving birth to children is very easy, but to train them up, it's not true. Okay? Children nowadays.
But babies, they are zero. They do nothing. If the child's attitude depends on the
parents, the bringing up.
Because when they are born to this world, they are totally zero. They're nothing. They don't know anything.
Piece of white paper, right?
Yes,
it's up to us to put in the dot.
Yes. So that's why once we look at the child, in actual fact, it's the reflection of the parents.
Exactly. It's the same with the animals. I mean, if you're going to train animals, you have to train them. If you don't train them, they are also a nuisance.
Yeah, actually, it's true. When we look at the dog, which is so smart, straight away we will think, wow, the trainer, the owner.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, the trainer really put in a lot of effort, right?
Yes.
Now, you say why people are not wanting to train having children or adopt children rather than adopt pets. You see? Okay, the thing is, when you adopt children, it's a lifelong thing.
Yeah, that's right.
If you get a child, when you bring the child to your home and he's already 6-7 years old, it is not easy.
Worse.
The mindset is already there.
Worse. Right? Yeah.
To get a baby, it's not easy to adopt baby. You can't find a baby.
Why not?
Because adoptions and all these sort of things now, of course, there are a lot of rules and things.
As long as
like
you're married, you can adopt already.
no.
Yes.
They will check your background.
Oh yes, of course.
They will check your background. You'll be in the.
I mean, in a normal, decent way,
Yeah,
you know.
but
as
if you want to
parents,
adopt a pet,
as a-
nobody check the background. Oh, I like this.
Oh,
I
yes,
think
yes.
Right, immediately
Yes.
you can take home. You can
Yes,
develop
okay.
your bonding with
Okay,
them.
that is also part of
Right?
it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not easy. It's not easy for you to adopt a baby. Even if you want to adopt a child from a home, it's not easy. You got to go through the process.
Yeah,
They will
of course,
check
of
you,
course.
make sure that. Of course, it's a child protection thing. All right. Well, animals.
So that these are all the negatives between a child and a pet.
I won't say it's negative. I mean, these are the difference between why is it easier to adopt a pet than to adopt a child. Okay? Now, the pet is with you. All you need, as I said, if you are rich enough, you buy all those gadgets. You buy all the toys. I've seen people who actually put the room especially for the pet. All right? Okay? But that is it. All right? But if you have a child, can you leave a child at home alone?
Yeah, cannot. Yeah.
Cannot. Even if he's a teenager, can you leave me alone? You wouldn't know what's up to. You because
So what is the conclusion of this?
the conclusion of
Topic.
this, all right. Why are people prefer to raise pets than to raise children?
Now,
It's a
actually,
commitment.
because I don't have a child, I don't have pets, you see. So that's why I'm curious about this thing. We should give an advice, you know, for those who are really into not a responsible person, then adopt a pet. Then for those who are really, now I understand why people like pets and willing to look after pets rather than children.
Shorter
Now I understand.
commitment.
So that's why if you are really into pets, yes, go ahead.
That's what
It's
you
true.
love, yeah.
Now I understand.
Yeah.
So if you really love children, also go ahead and don't think about anything. Just do what you like and do what you feel happy for it.
But also one thing I say, okay, if you are in the borderline, think about it, all right? Having children is keeping your family line going on.
Yeah.
Yeah? So if everybody says, I'm not going to have children,
Then
I really can't imagine what happened to this world. I can't imagine what happened to this
of
world.
course, not everyone is the same.
Yeah, that's right,
So
that's
there are people who like children, there are people who like pets. It's just that whether they want to hold the
That's why
responsibility or not.
I said those in the borderline.
So in the borderline, it depends
Give it a
on,
deep thoughts, okay, what is your responsibility, all right? Why do olden days they wanted to have children? Because they want to keep the heritage going on. Yeah.
But not now, anyway. But not now. It doesn't matter whether you have any generations or not having generations. Most importantly is
You're happy.
you're happy with your life. You can still work. You can still
Yeah.
walk. You can still run. Or you can
You're
still,
mobile. You can do whatever you want. Yeah.
So as long as this, and then, well, if you want to have a dog with you, happy.
Yeah.
As what you say, the dog will swing her.
You're happy at the door there.
You know, I believe this also shows happiness.
Yeah. As long as you are kind, whether to human beings or to animals. Animals have feeling too, you know. Don't think they don't have feeling, they have.
So okay, we will end up the topic of
But the word I will say is just spread love. Yeah, as long as you spread love. It doesn't
Spread
matter who you love, where you love. Even if it's not your child, love them as well. Right? So just spread love. Love yourself, love others.
yes.